Good afternoon. This is Media Center Ukraine Odessa. We continue for today. Now we are having with us Andrei Verdi, CEO founder of the online platform UArt, and Helen Labartkava-Verdi, founder of the online platform for Ukrainian artists UArt. Good afternoon. And Andrei, can you share details about your platform that popularizes the art of Ukrainian artists in the world? UArt is international online and offline platform that creates exhibitions and also serves as a platform for Ukrainian contemporary artists, mostly young artists that not only start their artistic way, but also are well-known artists. So this is not an artistic school or incubator. This is a platform that allows Ukrainian artists to have more influence, not only Ukraine, but mostly abroad. Those artists who want to expand their geography, who want to show their art abroad, join us. And now, when the whole world is focused on Ukraine, Ukrainian artists have even more opportunities to show their art, not only in Ukraine. When it comes to an average Ukrainian artists that can have exhibitions in different regions of Ukraine or in the capital of our country, such artists have their own fan base, but abroad in Europe or in the United States, no one will ever learn about his or her art if there are no shows, exhibitions, or other events or projects where our artists can be involved. When our artists have an exhibition in Kiev, even in some big museum, the audience is all the same limited. And we know that in the world there are different countries with a different perception of artists, and people there are ready to even pay more for art. That's why we can say that Ukrainian art is under-evaluated. It doesn't mean that Ukrainian art is worse. No, it just needs some boost for the development. And that's why my wife and me, when we were in a bomb shelter, were thinking about what we can do to improve the situation. And we understood that we had the opportunity and that we actually had tools to create such platform. And around 50 artists have joined our platform over the year. We've had exhibitions all over the world, in Europe, in Italy, in the United States. We also have weekly reviews in our social media. We interview artists, and after joining our platform, artists can see the work that we have already done, and they can also share their ideas with us, and we can decide upon the format of cooperation with them. When it comes to projects, the projects help artists even more, because we believe that artists are their product, their work, for example, some painting. So there is some depiction. But when the picture is shown to the whole world or is used somewhere, the content is different. So we can have an individual picture, but after it is added to some other project, for example, like project dedicated to the war, the content becomes wider. And artists now want to serve as conductors to show the war. And when we have the projects with posters or some other type of projects, it adds some contact to individual art pieces. So we can have social projects which are generally important, but we also can have more targeted projects which relate to some specific topic. And now the main topic of April of last year is Bucha, and we have exhibition dedicated to those events. Olena tried to offer the content abroad, but actually everyone refused. No one wanted to show that exhibition dedicated to Bucha because of the sensitive content. That's why we decided to have this exhibition online. We have now a separate website. We've had media support, and now this exhibition is kind of a manifest that there is no sensitive content, that the world should see these things. And actually, we have this website also in English. And now coming back to your question about our platform, is the projects, and we try to involve artists to this project. Lena, would you like to add something? No. And can you tell us about the changes in the Ukrainian art field during the war? You know, before the war, my husband and I were not involved with art. And my stylist, Andrei, has an internet company. But when we saw that the war is not just a war, this is the genocide of Ukrainian people, and that Russians tried to destroy everything with Ukrainian DNA. We started the project. We started that project in the bomb shelter in Odessa, and we developed it for 3 months there. I believe that Ukrainian art experience the same what our country experiences now. And if a year ago you asked about Ukraine in Italy, the United States, or other countries, everyone told me that Ukraine is a part of Russia, or that Ukraine is somewhere near Russia. But what we've achieved now, that everyone in the world now knows that Ukraine is a country. And the same can be said now about the Ukrainian art, because before the full-scale invasion, no one knew about the Ukrainian art in the world. But now Ukrainian artists have their own voice, and they are recognizable, and they are important now. So now the Ukrainian art experiences the same was our country. Thank you. The next question. And what is the demand for Ukrainian art since the start of the full-scale invasion? Is there a demand? I can say that there is a great demand for posters, because posters are a tool to share some painful topics. As for the price, it is not very high. Here we can speak more about donations. The posters were used to collect money for different charitable foundations and to attract attention to Ukraine. But unfortunately, this time is over now. Now there is a question, is Ukrainian art is valuable in the world if it's not in the form of posters or if it's not dedicated to the war. And I think that we have started now that path of increased demand for Ukrainian art. But first we need actually to understand if the artist is really an artist, because sometimes it is difficult to sell artworks. So now we are trying to find trendsetters in Ukraine. And we want to add value to these works in the world. And the next question, how do you use money earned from selling artwork? Is it spent for the Armed Forces of Ukraine? No. Our decision initially was that we need to support Ukrainian artists because all our artists and their families are here in Ukraine. And we select artists for our platform. We know all stories of our artists, and we are from Ukraine, and we know perfectly well what corruption means. And we can see a lot of foundations who actually collected money, but then they disappeared. But our platform is transparent. We have never invented stories about our artists to collect more money. And we raise money to support Ukrainian artists. And I would like to answer your questions about the value of artworks. Of course, the popularity increases the price. But we need time for this. We need years for this. And this is the same as for any other expert, because the professionalism, of course, has a direct impact on the price. And when artists are involved in projects, we also we can expect the increased price for his or her artworks. And actually, the participation of artists in different events can also affect the price. Of course, now Ukraine is in the focus of the whole world, and we want to actually achieve the international level of prices for Ukrainian artworks. But of course, we need to win in this war, and there are borders and this also has its impact. And as soon as we join the European Union, the situation will be better. Now there is a question about transporting artworks. For example, when we have to transport art pieces to Milan, and here comes customs clearance and some other artificial burdens we need to deal with. Thank you. Are there any questions from the floor? Good afternoon. My name is Anatoly Kosin, Media Center, Ukraine, Odessa. Perhaps this is a question more to Andriy. And you've mentioned that Bucha project when you were refused. And I have a question to you as to experts. What art is more popular, about the war tragedy, about broken faiths or damaged cities, or some battle pathos, the works about how our army manages to repel the enemy? Every work, every art piece should raise emotions, and this is the most important thing. Actually, this is the main target of art. This is a kind of a performance act. Artists try to convey their feelings through canvas. And then these feelings, this artwork should resonate with the audience. And perhaps the most important and the most popular topic now is mourning, or that can call for sympathy. But on the other hand, we should raise our patriotic feelings. And I can see a lot of illustrations now, which are mainly digital art. These art pieces are about patriotic spirit, but we should keep balance here. And actually, we want to show terrible things when it comes to Bucha project, but this is not a photo exhibition. This is an exhibition of paintings or drawing art. And even that content was sensitive for foreign galleries and foundations. Of course, if that project was about courageous warriors, Cossacks, then they would be more eager to show that. So we need to keep the balance, and we need just to move on. As for our other projects, this is not only as the project about Bucha. And over the year, we've had other projects. And with our artists, we also have had some digital experience that were Ukrainian artists in Meta universe, and that was quite rather interesting collaboration. There were around 45 art pieces that were shown virtually, and there was no mourning there, but that were the art pieces of different artists. That had something in common. And we can say that every artist is like a separate star in that universe. And there are some other stars in that galaxy. And all of them were in a meta-universe. And that was very interesting to observe, that project in the meta-universe. And all artists were in Ukraine. I also was in Ukraine as Andriy, who have been staying here the whole time. And so at that time, we were hiding from missiles, from damages, and at the same time, we had that meta-universe project, and our artists just could leave their bomb shelters through the meta-universe, and that was a very unusual experience. I would also like to add that all exhibitions that we've had all over the world, and I also was at some of them, but we can say that people sympathize with us, but the world generally is not ready to look at the real war. And when you tell some stories, it is already shocking for them. When you tell about killed children, raped women, and it seems it's impossible in 2023, and people cannot do such things to other people. But when you add some image to this, they actually refuse to show this. We called that Bucha project the forbidden exhibition, the exhibition the world did not want to see. Thank you. Are there any other questions? And the last question. Do you have experience of working with artists who started their artistic path after the start of the full-scale invasion? You mean those people who became artists after the full-scale invasion? Yes, I think that actually no, because all artists that have been selected for our project that are presented now at our platform were artists before the war, and they have their own techniques, they have understanding of the art in general and their goal. Because actually the person should have some skills and should have some professionalism to be shown to the world. And we don't show, we don't demonstrate those artists who have only a few art pieces, because these people, they should be educated and they should have their own style. Because actually, if we start showing such raw, so to say, works, that the world will have the wrong perception of Ukrainian art in general. This will be like young students who have only started drawing. And actually, we can see this problem in different areas. There are Ukrainian designers who are now presented all over the world. And but the world thinks that Ukrainian art, that Ukrainian culture is not modern. They think that actually we eat borscht every time, that we just dance, and that we just wear that wreaths. But every time I try to explain that this is not so, that Ukrainian art, Ukrainian design is contemporary, that we have modern artists, modern designers, and we can become trendsetters in the world. But we need time for this. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for being with us today. We've had with us Andriy Verdi and Helen Labartkava-Verdi. Thank you for being with us, and see you at 1 p.m.